So you think you're tough? It's not something you learn. It's in your blood, like the blood of a panther. So if you think you're tough enough, then hang around and listen to this. During the early days of Middle-earth, a party was formed of 4 young men, whose journey would take them through the pits of hell. On the way they will encounter many creatures not known to this planet, and their journey will end in Capewrath. The Capewrath Trail is a hiking route that runs through the Scottish Highlands and is the most difficult in the British Isles. It runs along the west coast of Scotland for approximately 240 miles and is considered to be the most challenging, arduous and difficult route in the UK. That's why we advise you to stay at home and not to participate. Today will be the hardest day for the adventurers. This is the most popular alternative start which they are commencing. It comprises of 3 stages and rejoins the main route at Morvich, whereas the main route tends to hug the west coast. However, the start of this route could scarcely be less prepossessing. One teammate forgets to take the bridge. The others must wait and set up camp in order to regroup. One final look for anything that's been left behind. Remember not to leave any trace. The small beach before Loch Lochy offers shelter before the final push and a chance for our adventurers to enjoy the fantabulous scenery. The most dangerous section of the trail is just now. This is very much a stage of 2 halves. The first half continues in the same vein as the previous stage, with easy walking along wide forest tracks, although the second half provides the first tantalizing taste of wilderness. This composes of frogs and rocks. Oh, and it also includes hearths of peat. Our adventurers do not yet know what is facing them. This part of the route takes you up and over boggy moors to the final destination, Cluny. True, the sun and the rain and the wind inspire, but rain has an edge. Who, after all, dreams of dancing in the dust or kissing in the bright sun? And chuck and whistle in the morning sun. The pilewort glitters neath the pale blue sky. The little robin has its nest begun, and grass green linnets round the bushes fly. From the bothy the path climbs steadily for 4 kilometres through the steep pass of Outgrander, and winds down at times precariously to cross the river at Glenlicht House. From here a good estate track continues northwest to Morvich, along the banks of the River Crow. The waterfall here cascades for more than 100 metres, straight down into the ravine, the largest drop of any waterfall in the UK. Here our adventurers must face a very dangerous path, which is very tricky as it hangs onto the west side of the gorge and goes over several awkward rocks. In poor visibility of wind, they must proceed with caution. On such adventures, you may often come across unknown creatures, but in this case our adventurers stumbled across a much rarer species, the name of which is wee Edie. A little lane, the brook runs close beside, and spangles in the sunshine while the fish glide swiftly by. Day's rest in Ullapool is just what the boys needed. As they've almost walked 130 miles, it's time for them to stock up on well-deserved calories and maybe even a fish supper. Wee Frankie joined the adventurers for around 25 miles, until they discovered he was a blood-sucking prick. The River Ochil is one of Scotland's finest salmon rivers, and from Ochil Bridge an excellent 4x4 track takes you all the way to Salaki. And on a sunny day this is a stunning place to be, as the river tumbles elegantly over rocks and small waterfalls. It was so elegant that the boys decided to get shit-faced.
With a 4-barrel carb and a dual exhaust with mold and fusion. Tubes, but I ain't scared. The looks good. Tires fair.
It's been raining all night and day, and I know just what you'll say. You won't go out when it rains, except to hike a mountain range. The boys were left with very few provisions. In order to survive, they nominated one of the group to travel alone in order to gain supplies. The second last day is one of the most treacherous days. The B801 north from Reconic, along the shore of Loughin Shard, is not a busy road, so they must take care. Although they managed to persuade a local worker to give them a lift 200 meters to Sandwood Bay. And the hedges leaving with green springtide. From our greenery the old birds fly.
Anytime there's a fucking sunset, it's going to be class up here. The coastline for a sunset is epic.
Every time. Every time.
The last stage of the adventurer's journey to Cape Wrath felt to them like one of the hardest. Beyond Sandwood Bay was a slog across beautiful but bleak, peat-dark rolling moors, with the North Atlantic often throwing its most worst at them. It's tough going at times for our adventurers, and the route was completely trackless, but the remoteness must have been intoxicating. The Cape Wrath Lighthouse. This unmanned landmark occupies craggy cliffs and overlooks the Ozone Cafe, where our adventurers managed to take a little nip and enjoy some fancy sandwiches.
Try and get the perfect shot.
Yeah, fucking right.
The money shot.
The money shot.
Sure, that's no each, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Fortunately, the adventure is over. This splendid journey, comprising of fields, boggy paths and rocks, has now come to an end. The boys are now going to reminisce. This includes partying on the beach. A well-deserved end to a hard trip. I hope they see the dolphins in the wilderness.